Thank you, Dr. Dhanutri. I'm Dr. Sandeep Binorkar, Assistant Professor from the Department of Bhagatantra, R.A. Poddar, Ayurveda Medical College, Mumbai. Good evening and namaskar, one and all. First of all, I would like to say thanks to the organizers and youth of Ayurveda for conducting such a beautiful and informative webinar on introduction to Ayurveda through various subjects. This webinar will be surely helpful to the new students of Ayurveda. And as time goes, I hope more and more informative topics will be discussed on this platform with the details and depth of the individual subjects. So far in the earlier sessions of this webinar, you might have gone through the basics of few subjects of Ayurveda. Today we are going to comprehend certain basics of one of such subjects known as Agat Tantra, which is being taught as a part of syllabus along with the modern medical associated subjects, that is forensic medicine, medical jurisprudence, toxicology, the year of third BMS curriculum. So let us begin with the presentation. That is introduction to Ayurveda Tantra. We all know that the foundation of Ayurveda is based on 8 clinical branches: Chikitsa, Baldro, Pangu, Shalya, Brahmstra, Jara, Visha. So among these 8 branches, Brahmstra Chikitsa, which is also known as Agata Tantra, one of the clinical subjects dealing with the various aspects of poison and management of poison. The earliest reference of Agat Tantra can be traced back in Atharva Veda, Adi Parva of Mahabharata and Ramayana. Today we are learning this subject from the various Samhitas such as Charak Samhita, Sushruta Samhita and Ashtanga Hridaya. So here are the major textual references of Agat Tantra from Samhitas. In Charak Samhita, the topic is covered in the 23rd chapter of Chikitsa, that is Vishishta. In Sushruta Samhita, entire Kalpasthana is dedicated for the Agat Tantra, and the information is categorized in different 8 chapters under various heads. In Ashtanga Sangraha, Uttar Tantra, Adhyaya 41 to 48 are dealing with the ample information on poisons and its management. Similarly, in Ashtanga Hridaya, again in Uttar Tantra, Adhyaya 35 to 38 are based on classical, excuse me, the classical definition of Agata Tantra. It says that Agata Tantra deals with the signs and symptoms and also with the management of poisoning resulting from the bites of snakes, insects, spiders, rodents, etc., and various other poisons produced by the improper combination of substances or drugs, which may or may not be poisonous in itself. So, from the definition, it can be said that the poisons are basically categorized in 3 types in Ayurveda. That is, first one is the Jangama, that is animate poison, or it can be said that the poisons are originated from the animal sources. Then next one is the inanimate poisons or sour visha. Those are particularly originated from the plant or metals and mineral sources. And the third one is the Krutrimu visha, or it is also known as Sanyogaj visha or artificial poison. And it can be considered as the combination of animate or inanimate or both poisons. Inanimate poisons, it has been explained that the snake bite, scorpion sting, dog bite, honeybee sting, rat bite, centipede, etc., and several other insects and animals, including lizard, leech, and frog. Those are having the venomous properties, and they can produce certain hazardous signs and symptoms when they bite the patient. Inanimate poisons, these are the plant or metals and minerals. The frequently occurring plant origin poisons are the Kuchula, Aifen, Jaipal, Dhatura, Bhanga, Gunja, Bhalati, etc. And certain metals and minerals are also explained, such as Hartal, Komal, and third category is artificial poison. That is combination of various poisons, and when it is consumed, again it is going to create certain symptoms. So these combination poisons of Visha can be categorized again in subheads. The first one is the combination of Sarvisha Dravya, that is the substances which are poisonous within itself, and in some samhitas it is considered as the type of dushusha. So dushusha is cumulative poison and which retains and accumulates within the tissue of remains for prolonged period persistently and shows the signs and symptoms of toxicity when favorable conditions or atmosphere arises. May be originated from inanimate, animate, or artificial source of poison. The second type is Garavisha. Garavisha is considered as one of the form of Mrityunvisha. It is formed by the combination of two or more poisons or non-poisonous drugs, which ultimately affects the body by vitiating all the doshas and dhatus and sutras in the body. The third type is Viruddhahara. It is a diet having combination of substances with properties which are opposite to each other, and sometimes it may be opposite to the dhatus, which thereby inhibits and interrupts the process of metabolism and formation of dhatus as well as the functioning of the vital system responsible for the maintenance of the health. There are total 18 types of Viruddhaharas which are mentioned in the Samhitas. The pesticides, the chemical pesticides are the next type of poisons or the combination of poisons that is particularly used for killing the pests, including the insects, rodents, fungi, etc. But being the combination of various chemicals, it also acts as artificial poison when entered into the human body. It also can get accumulate and harm the natural environment within the next is food preservatives. Most of the food preservatives are chemical in nature, including the compounds such as sodium benzoate, benzoic acid, nitrite, sulfite, sodium sorbate, potassium sorbate, etc. These are also going to act as latent poisons when consumed for longer duration and more in quantity. Acharyas have also explained the Vishagunas, that is the properties of poisons. So, particularly Sushruta and Charaka has enumerated 10 Vishagunas with slight alterations. Charaka has explained Anirdesh Rasa, while Sushruta explains Apaki Guna. Vagbhatacharya has attributed 11 gunas by including Apaki and Avyakta Rasa instead of Anirdesh Rasa. Whereas Charangdhara explains certain other qualities such as Chedi, Madavaha, Yogavahi, and Jivitaha. The mode of action of poison, or otherwise also known as Vishakriya, is also explained in Ayurvedic Samhitas. Vishakriyas are means of probable mode of action of Visha and is systematically explained in Samhitas on the basis of the gunas. The guna which is present in the Visha can be correlated with the specific action which is being seen in that particular poison. So, if a poison is having a specific guna which is predominantly expressing itself, the symptoms will appear accordingly. So, such as in Ruksha Guna, which is responsible for Vata Prakopa, Vyavai Guna can cause the fast spread of the poison. Krishna Guna is responsible for the Pitta Prakopa. Tikshna Guna may be responsible for the Maramagata, and so on. Ayurveda has also explained the detection and diagnosis of the poisoning. Detection and diagnosis of poisons and poisoning is based on the certain examinations. It is considered for the living as well as dead also. The major examination is Agni Parikshana. Poison material, when it is subjected to the fire, it burns like peacock nest, erupted and slowly, and it also emits the fumes with different colors like rainbow and produces a cracking sound. In Panchabhutik Parikshana, it can also be done with the help of Pancha Jnanendriyas and Pancha Tanmatras. For example, Gandha, on burning the poison material, it emits the irritating fume. Sometimes it may be a foul smell. On contact with the such poisons that can be examined by the Sparcha. So, on contact, these poisons shows the symptoms like burning sensation or itching, etc. The next type of examination for the detection of poison is the animal experimentation, which are explained in again our Ayurvedic Samhita. It says that the consumption of poisonous uh, consumption of such poisonous food by the animals, it will produce certain signs and symptoms in them, and that can be examined and it will help for the diagnosis. The example which is given by the Acharyas is about the kokila. When the kokila consumes such poisonous food, her voice will get changed. Then gait of the swan it gets altered. Then Bhrungaraja bird it gets fatted, and the monkeys or the vanara it immediately excretes the feces. The signs and symptoms of poison that are appearing into the patients are also helpful for the diagnosis of the lakshanas of sour visha are fever, hiccup, sensitivity, fatigue, spasms in the throat, frothy saliva, vomiting, anorexia, etc. Whereas in Jangam Visha, the major signs and symptoms are sleep, drowsiness, exhaustion, burning sensation, inflammation, and diarrhea. So these are the symptoms which are mentioned by Ayurvedic Samhitas, and when these symptoms are seen in patients, we can assume that the particular type of poison or the nature of poison is consumed by the patient. In dead also, the Ashumrita Parikshana can be done, and the external and internal findings such as the skin color, style, for the mouth and nostrils. This helps in the diagnosis of the poison. Food materials which is found in the dead was also subjected to birds, and from that it is again can be confirmed that the uh, uh, type of the poison or which kind of a poison has been, had been consumed by the patient. So the next concept is the clinical application of poison. Actually, this is the most unique concept of Agada Tantra. The concept of Prativisha, which is explained in Ayurvedic Samhitas. The Prativisha means the use of toxic substances as an antidotic agent in the management of poison. When all the treatment measures for the poisoning are futile, it is said that when we are administering all the conventional medicines and still we are not getting the proper result, then in that condition it is believed that Prativisha Chikitsa may be helpful. So there are certain examples which are given in Samhita, that is in case of Alerthavisha, that is dog bite, or a rabies, a condition of rabies. Arthakshira and Dhatura can be given. So here we can see that the antidotes or the Prativisha which are used in this condition is having the opposite nature to that of the poison. So Alerthavisha is the Jangam in origin, whereas Arthakshira and Dhatura these are sour Visha. Similarly, in snake bite, we can use Gunja with Napoli or Karveer, Arka and Langli and Jaipal seeds. The mode of application or the administration of these drugs vary from the oral to the nasal and sometimes the local applications also. So in this case, in snake bite, Jaipal seed Anjana is explained by the Acharya. Scorpion bite is again one more condition where the Vatsanab Lepa is advised. Jaipal, Artha, and Kshira, these can also be Artha Kshira, these can also be used in the scorpion sting. In rat bite fever or in case of rat bite, Danti is used for the Direchana. Vishoka Yogya is one of the chapter where Vagbhata has explained several formulations containing the Thavara and Jangam Vishas, including snake venom, as medicine, the ailments such as fever to diarrhea. The concept of environmental toxicology is also well explained in the Ayurvedic Samhitas. Though the term environmental toxicology is coined a few decades ago, but Ayurveda had discussed this in Kalpasthana of Sushruta Samhita. It explains the features of poisoned water, air, land, and the measures to treat and preserve it in pure form. Coming to the management of the poisoning, Ayurveda, apart from the symptomatic treatment in cases of poisoning, Ayurveda has explained another unique concept, that is the 24 Vishupta. It has been elaborated in Charak Samhita again in Chikitsa Stana 23rd chapter. It includes Mantra Chikitsa to Mrit Sanjeevani Agada. Precise Upakrama is to be chosen for the patient along with the Agada on the basis of examination and the signs and symptoms which are appearing in the person. Hence, from this information, we can say that Agata Tantra or the Ayurvedic toxicology is the science dealing with the properties, actions, toxicity, fatal dose detection, estimation, and interpretation of the results of the toxicological analysis and treatment of the poison. The other associated subjects which we have to learn under the term Vyavhar Ayurveda is forensic medicine from the modern medical science. The branch which deals with the application of medical knowledge to establish the facts in the civil and criminal legal cases. Civil or criminal legal cases is considered as the forensic medicine. It particularly helps in determining the cause of death in suspicious and sudden natural death. At the same time, the time since death, or what we call as the post-mortem interval. Then identification of a person along with his age, gender status of the person before death, and so on. The other synonyms which are used for the forensic medicine are legal medicine and state medicine. There are certain branches of forensic medicine. The branch of forensic medicine is divided in few sub branches. The first one is the forensic pathology. Forensic pathology deals with the autopsy, that is post-mortem examination, and it particularly helps in finding out the cause of death, time since death, then the mechanism of the injuries which are present on the body, and the medical legal aspects of each and every that is available on the body. The second branch is clinical forensic medicine. It helps in the determination of age. Forensic age estimation helps the court and other government bodies determine the official age of a person whose actual age is unknown. The second thing that can be dealt by the clinical forensic medicine is the examination of the injuries, daily practice. So the wound examination is of a prime importance in forensic pathology, and it is desirable to establish a wound examination system in order to evaluate and record the nature of wound more accurately and objectively. Examination of the drunken. Drunkenness is the state of individual whose mind is affected by the consumption of alcohol, and a person who has consumed alcohol may commit a crime under the influence of such intoxication. Under Section 185 of the Motor Vehicle Act, it prohibits the drunk and drive. This is one of the examples, but there are certain other things that can be out and that will be examined under drunkenness conditions. The examination of the sexual offences is again one more part which is dealt by the clinical forensics. The one aim of the examination is to recover the evidences to support the victim's claim that the sexual assault has been taken place without the consent of the person. The other branches of forensic medicine are the forensic toxicology, which deals with the medical legal aspects of the poisons and poison. Then post-mortem findings which are related to particularly a case of poison. The next branch is forensic thanatology. It deals with the mechanism and forensic aspects of the death. It also helps in finding the post-mortem interval and also the post-mortem changes which are taking place on the body after death. The other branch is again the forensic odontology or forensic dentistry. It helps to collect the evidences from the denture The identification of the person is also possible from the pattern of arrangement of the teeth. The source of bite mark is also examined on the basis. Then estimation of the age is also possible with the examination of the teeth. The other branch is forensic anthropology. Identification of the disease from the decomposed remains and mutilated bodies where it is totally unrecognizable. The branch of forensic anthropology helps to find out certain details about such bodies. For example, the age of the gender, probably, and the stature and all other things which can help the professor to solve. Forensic entomology is again one more branch which deals with the scientific study of the invasion of the succession patterns of the arthropods. It is nothing but the insects which are growing on the dead body. So the life cycle of these insects is going to help to determine the time since death. At the same time, sometimes it may also help to find out the cause of death, because whatever the reason of the death in that particular person, suppose for example it is a poison. So in that condition, whatever the poisonous content which are present in the tissues, those are consumed by these insects, and later on the examination of these insects, those particular poisonous substances can be detected in the so it can also help to find out the cause of death. Forensic psychiatry is one more branch where the insanity and criminal cases are dealt. So, if the person is a person has committed certain crimes, and it is said that the uh, crime was committed under the influence of this particular insanity, then it has to be ruled out whether the insanity is true or false. So, forensic psychiatry, the person who is expert in forensic psychiatry deals with validity of the consent in cases of psychiatric disorders is again that can be handled by the person. Then competency of the witness in court of law, because the person who is having certain psychiatric disorders, the consent, the witness which is given by such persons will not be valid in the court of law. The next subject or the part of the topic which is associated with Agatantra is the medical jurisprudence. It is concerned with the broad range of medical, legal, and ethical issues, as well as the human rights and rights of the individual. Physicians have the duty to act in their patient's best interest and can be charged in the court of law if they fail to do so. So the legal responsibilities of the physician or the legal aspects of the practice of medicine is generally um, learned under the medical jurisprudence. Medical ethics. These are the moral principles while dealing with the physicians, the patients, the relatives of the patients, and the uh, medical etiquettes are the conventional laws of the courtesy which are observed between the persons of the same professional field. So here in case it will be the relation of the doctor with the other doctors and the other medical staff. Medical jurisprudence also deals with the cases of medical negligence. Medical negligence basically is the misconduct by the medical practitioners or doctors by not providing enough care, resulting in a breach of their duties and harming the patients, which are their consumers. A breach of this duty gives patients the right to initiate action against the doctors for such negligence. The next condition is the malpractice. The term malpractice refers to any professional misconduct that includes an unreasonable lack of skill or unfaithful in carrying out the professional duties. Negligence is the most common basis for the medical malpractice. Action imposing liability on a physician and paying damages under the Consumer Protection Act. Violations of certain acts, such as the Transportation of Human Organ Act, Preconception and Prenatal Diagnostic Techniques Act, Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act, and clinical trial regulations may also attract the liabilities on the physicians. Currently, we are witnessing the issue which is related to the violation of clinical trial regulations against of the reputed Ayurveda medicine manufacturing. So the knowledge of medical jurisprudence helps in safeguarding yourself and your practice against the allegations. So in nutshell, it can be said that the field of Agar Tantra is very vast. There is need to understand it in different aspects like divisions and subdivisions, its merits, demerits, qualities, properties, etc. The traditional and scientific knowledge from the Agar Tantra, if it's combined together with the contemporary knowledge, it may definitely help to have a great achievement and will be helpful to enhance the understanding and to deal with the problems more effectively. So this was the brief presentation about the introduction to Agar Tantra and the concept of the topic which we have to learn under this subject. I hope this series of webinar will be continued so that we can discuss each and every concept from Agar Tantra and forensic. I am again thankful to Dr. Dhanvantri and his entire organizing team of Youth of Ayurveda for inviting me and providing me this opportunity to introduce this subject, all of you. Thank you one and all.